Hi, I'm JW with Cabinet Talk, and I have a cool project you could do in a weekend just in time for your Halloween party. My wife loves Halloween because she likes to see the kids running around the neighborhood, trick-or-treating, and nothing brings her more joy than scaring the crap out of them. As a supportive husband and chronic enabler, when my wife asked me to build a coffin for the Halloween decorations, I did. And maybe this will inspire you to do the same for your decorations. So first I did some Googling for an old Western style coffin and put together a drawing with some baseline measurements on some scrap paper, and after a revision or two on the drawing, this is what the plan looked like. We went to the shop to see what kind of scrap wood we had laying around. It turns out we had a few pieces of 1/2-inch ply, and that was strike one. In hindsight, it would have probably been better to use 3/4-inch plywood, but you'll see why as we go through the build. Now on the good side, these sheets ran us no more than $40 per sheet. We used 2 sheets, but there's no reason you can't scale this down and possibly get the cutouts from a single sheet. The first thing I did was cut out sheets of plywood that matched the height and width of the coffin dimensions, and left the remainder of the original plywood sheets for the sides of the coffin. To get the shapes for the faces of the coffin, I marked the side corners of the coffin and used a track saw to cut away some pieces to form the characteristic coffin shape. I stacked both face pieces on top of each other and cut them at the same time, which was strike 2. To attach the sides, you typically think an angle finder or speed square, but I ended up using a couple spare pieces of wood and used my clever woodworking experience to get my angles. Then I used my track saw to cut out my pieces. You could just nail it all together, but for a little extra security I added some cleats to the base and glued my sides to the pieces before pinning it all together. All that is left was to put the top on, and that's strike 3. It looks like it didn't really work out because I used 1/2-inch plywood instead of the 3/4-inch. The wood warped a little more than I intended, especially because we filmed this just before some big weather changes. Moreover, since I cut the top and bottom at the same time, the top can't be adjusted to slightly altered dimensions from the warping. If you were to do this yourself and you wanted to use 1/2-inch plywood, it would definitely be best to trace the shape over a sheet of plywood and then use that outline to cut your top. The details for this build are posted on the Cabinet Academy blog. Please see the link below. We have an Instagram and subreddit, both called Cabinet Talk. So if you want to share your work with us, be sure to message us on Instagram or post on the subreddit, or just leave a comment below for any feedback or suggestions for what you'd like to see next. And to all of you who follow this channel, happy Halloween.